I was shoved into the hallway at my sister's wedding, so I left, and what unfolded next flipped their world upside down. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how I stopped being the invisible daughter and turned my family's betrayal into their reckoning. It all happened on a calm Saturday, a species day to the family. I arrived at my sister Lily's wedding at a charming mountain lodge in Colorado, ready to smile, pose for photos, and play the supportive big sister as I'd always done. The lodge was breathtaking. Pine trees framed the view, warm wooden beams glowed under soft lights, and the reception hall sparkled with elegance. I wore a simple navy dress, the only one I felt suited the occasion, and stepped out of my car with no intention of stealing the spotlight. This was Lily's day, and I'd long accepted I wasn't the favorite. But I wasn't prepared for how deeply they'd cut me out. At the entrance, a staff member with a clipboard greeted me with a bright smile. "Name?" she asked. "Sarah Miller," I answered softly. Her smile wavered. She scanned her list, paused, and said, "You're seated in the corridor near the coat room." I blinked. "The corridor?" She nodded, avoiding my eyes. "Just outside the main hall." I glanced at the seating chart. My parents, John and Linda Miller, were at the head table. Lily's friends and her fiancé's co-workers were all inside, under twinkling lights. My name? Nowhere. "There's a mistake, yet," I said, keeping my voice steady. She shook her head. "No mistake." "That's your spot." My chest tightened. I told myself it was a space issue, a last-minute error. But then I saw my mom fussing over Lily's dress, both laughing like nothing was wrong. I approached. "Mom, can we talk?" She barely glanced at me. "Not now, Sarah, we're busy." Lily smirked, her eyes cold. I pressed on. "I'm seated in the corridor," Mom shrugged. "We prioritized close family." I clenched my jaw. "I am close family." Lily's voice dripped with fake sweetness. "It's just a seat, Sarah. Don't make a scene." My dad, John, joined us, muttering, "It's not a big deal, sweetheart." I forced a smile, turned, and walked away, my heels clicking on the wooden floor. I'd always swallowed their dismissals, but this time something snapped. In the corridor, I held my place card. Sarah Miller, Table C, corridor. The neat handwriting stung like a slap. I'd hoped just once they'd see me as part of the family. They never had. I stood in the corridor outside the reception hall, the place card in my hand, Sarah Miller, Table C, corridor, feeling like a punch to the gut. The Colorado Lodge's pine-scented air mixed with the floral arrangements, but it couldn't mask the sting of being banished to a folding table by the coat room. My navy dress felt too tight, my heart heavier than the wooden beams overhead. The muffled laughter from the banquet hall taunted me, and I was still trying to swallow the hurt when a burst of giggles broke through. I looked up. 3 of Lily's college friends, Tara, Chloe, and Mia, spilled out of the hall, their shimmering dresses catching the light, champagne glasses in hand. I knew them well enough. They were always glued to Lily, echoing her every word. Tara spotted me first, her eyes widening with fake surprise. "Sarah, what are you doing out here?" she asked, loud enough to draw attention. Chloe smirked, glancing at my place card. "Lost or something?" I forced my voice to stay calm. "Number." This is where they seated me. I nodded at the sad little table, its cheap tablecloth a mockery of the elegance inside. Chloe snorted, barely hiding it. "The hallway? Oh, wow, that's rough." Mia raised an eyebrow, her smile sharp. "No offense, but that's kind of funny. Did you forget to RSVP?" "I was invited," I said, my tone flat but firm. My cheeks burned, but I wouldn't let them see me crumble. Tara tilted her head, her earrings glinting. "I mean, it makes sense. Lily's got so many important people here. Not everyone can fit in the main room, right? You're so chill about it." My grip tightened on the card, its edges biting my palm. "I'm not chill," I said, locking eyes with Tara. They froze, caught off guard, but Mia laughed, a shrill sound that grated on me. "Oh, come on, Sarah, it's Lily's day. You should be happy to be here at all." "Happy to sit by the coats?" I asked, my voice cold. "Would you be?" Chloe waved me off. "You're so dramatic." Lily said you're used to being, you know, left out. The words hit like a knife, confirming what I'd feared. Lily had been painting me as the outsider to everyone. Tara leaned in, her voice a mock whisper. If it bothers you, talk to Lily. I'm sure she didn't mean it. They giggled, their glasses clinking as they sauntered back to the hall, leaving me alone. Their laughter echoed in my head, but it lit something inside me. I wasn't going to let them humiliate me. Not tonight. Not ever again. Lily's voice stopped me. Sarah sulking already? She asked, arms crossed, her veil swaying. Her smile was sharp. It's just a seat, she said. I laughed dryly. It's not the seat. It's how you all treat me. She stepped closer, her voice low. You're always chasing their approval. It's pathetic. I held her gaze. What's pathetic is you needing to shove me aside to feel special. She froze, then laughed it off as Mom approached, annoyed. What's the drama now? She asked. I faced her. I'm your daughter, not a stranger. Why am I in the corridor? Mom sighed. We had limited seats, Sarah. I prioritized people closer to Lily. You've always been fine on your own. I laughed, stunned. Fine on my own? That justifies treating me like I don't exist? Lily cut in. Stop overreacting. Be grateful you were invited. Dad added, it's just a seat. I looked at them, my family, and clarity hit. If they didn't want me here, I wouldn't beg. I walked out, clutching my purse, the music and laughter fading behind me. In a quiet corner, I sat, memories flooding back. Years ago in our Oregon home, I'd found a journal in Mom's room. Page after page gushed about Lily, her first school day, her favorite foods, her fears. Not one mention of me. When I confronted Mom, she'd said, Lily's sensitive. You didn't need that kind of attention. That moment broke something in me, and now at Lily's wedding, it was breaking again. I sat by the window, next to the coat room where they'd placed me. The place card gleamed in my hand. If this was where they thought I belonged, they didn't know me at all. And for the first time I wasn't sad, I was ready to act. A voice broke my thoughts. Sarah? It was Jake, Lily's groom, in a sharp tux, holding an untouched drink. His eyes searched mine. You don't belong out here. I smiled faintly. Your family thinks I do. He frowned, then said, Has Lily ever said anything off about me? I hesitated. Lily's cruel comments at family dinners, mocking Jake's trust, bragging about controlling him, flashed in my mind. I'd stayed quiet to avoid trouble. Not now. Jake, you don't know the real Lily. Before he could respond, a woman's voice cut in. If you're unsure, maybe I can help. It was Margaret, Jake's mom, elegant in a silver dress, holding a phone. She handed it to Jake. Read this. Jake scrolled, his face paling. She told her friend I'm easy to control, that she'd own everything after the wedding. Margaret nodded. There's more. She's already planning a divorce. Jake sank into a chair, stunned. I sat beside him, silent as the truth sank in. We moved to a small room upstairs. Jake, Margaret, and I waited as Lily and Mom walked in. Lily's confidence wavered. What's this about? She demanded. Jake stood, sliding an envelope across the table. Petition to annul the marriage. I signed it. Lily froze. Mom gasped. Margaret said, We saw your messages, Lily. Every word about Jake, about us? Lily stammered. Those were jokes. Margaret wasn't buying it. Jokes? Like the divorce lawyer you contacted last month? Dad entered, his face heavy. Is this true, Lily? She didn't answer. He turned to me. Sarah, I'm sorry. I've let this go on too long. I was speechless. Dad never apologized. Lily snapped, pointing at me. This is her fault. She's always been jealous. I stayed calm. You did this to yourself, Lily. Mom, breaking, whispered, I can't defend you anymore. Lily's eyes filled with fear, not of being caught, but of losing control. She stormed into the reception hall, her gown trailing, makeup smudged. The music stopped. Guests stared as she screamed, You're ruining my day over a few texts? Jake stepped forward. You ruined it yourself. Margaret added, You never wanted to be part of us. You wanted what we have." The crowd murmured, piecing it together. Lily turned to me, accusing me of jealousy, but I said, "The truth speaks for itself." Jake held up the annulment papers. "We're done." As he and Margaret walked away, Lily stood alone, her perfect day in ruins. 2 days after the wedding, I stood outside my Denver apartment, the cool mountain air brushing my skin. My portfolio was tucked under my arm from a client meeting at a coffee shop, my mind buzzing with new design ideas. The blog post I'd tipped off, "The Bride Who Planned a Divorce Before the Vows," had blown up, and though I hadn't named Lily, our town had connected the dots. Her perfect image was crumbling, and I felt no guilt, only a quiet strength. I was reaching for my keys when a sharp voice stopped me. "Sarah!" I turned. Lily stood on the sidewalk, her designer coat pulled tight, her blonde hair a mess. Her face was pale, eyes red and blazing with fury. My stomach twisted, but I held my ground. "What do you want, Lily?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. She stormed closer, heels clicking. "You know what I want. You ruined my life." Her voice cracked, but her anger burned. "That blog post? Everyone knows it's me. My friends ghosted me, my sponsors dumped me, and Jake won't even look at me. This is your doing." I set my portfolio on the steps, crossing my arms. "I didn't write your messages, Lily. You plan to manipulate Jake to use his family. That's on you." Her eyes flashed. "You're so smug, acting all innocent. You've always been jealous. You couldn't stand my perfect wedding, my perfect life, so you tore it down." She stepped closer, her voice a hiss. "You've been waiting to ruin me, haven't you?" I didn't flinch. "I never wanted your life. I just wanted to be part of the family. You made sure I wasn't." My words carried years of hurt, but I kept them calm. "You seated me by the coat room. You told your friends I didn't belong. You did this." Lily laughed, bitter and broken. "You chose to be the outsider. You could have tried harder, been more like me. Instead, you played the victim, sulking in the hallway." She was close now, her lips trembling. "You leaked that story to ruin me. Are you happy?" I met her gaze. "I didn't do it to ruin you. I did it so the truth could breathe. You built your life on lies, Lily. I just let them show." For a moment, I thought she might break, might apologize. But her face hardened. "You'll regret this," she spat. "You think you've won, but you're still nothing." I picked up my portfolio, turning to my door. "Goodbye, Lily," I said, stepping inside. As I closed the door, her footsteps faded. Her words didn't hurt anymore. They just proved I was free. The days after the wedding were quiet in my small Denver apartment. My phone buzzed relentlessly, Mom calling over a dozen times. I didn't answer. I'd heard enough in that reception hall, and a lifetime of being pushed aside had taught me their apologies would be hollow. But I wasn't done. I'd spent years being the independent one, the one who didn't need attention. That strength became my weapon, and I was ready to use it. I'd built a small but thriving graphic design business, working remotely for clients nationwide. Lily, on the other hand, lived for appearances, curating a perfect life on social media. Flawless photos, glowing captions, and a legion of followers who envied her charm. Her wedding was supposed to be the pinnacle of that image, but I knew the truth could unravel it. My revenge wasn't about destruction. It was about letting the truth shine, and I had the tools to make it happen. I reached out to a friend, Emma, who ran a popular local lifestyle blog with a wide reach in our community. Without revealing I was Lily's sister, I pitched a story about a wedding gone wrong, focusing on a bride's manipulative texts and hidden divorce plans, keeping details vague enough to avoid legal trouble, but specific enough to spark recognition. Emma jumped at the idea, and within days, the post went live. "The Bride Who Planned a Divorce Before the Vows." It spread like wildfire. The blog didn't name Lily, but our town wasn't big, and the details, messages about controlling a groom, plans to secure wealth, a dramatic wedding meltdown, pointed clearly to her. Comments poured in. A former coworker shared how Lily had undermined her to get a promotion. A high school friend mentioned unpaid loans Lily had forgotten. People who'd been charmed by her facade started questioning her. The post didn't just expose her, It dismantled the perfect image she'd spent years building. Lily's social media, once flooded with wedding photos and gushing captions, went dark. Her followers dwindled, and her influencer deals, built on her dream life aesthetic, fell apart. Jake's family, wealthy and well-connected, pushed the annulment through swiftly, leaving Lily with nothing from the marriage she'd schemed to control. My parents kept calling, texting about fixing the family, but I wasn't ready to hear it. Their silence over the years had spoken louder than their sudden guilt. A Lily, but our town wasn't big, and the details, messages about controlling a groom, plans to secure wealth, a dramatic wedding meltdown, pointed clearly to her. Comments poured in. I didn't stop with the blog. I poured my energy into my business, landing a major contract with a national brand looking for fresh, authentic designs. The project wasn't just a paycheck, it was proof I didn't need my family's approval to succeed. I started posting my work online, not to flaunt, but to show the world what I was capable of. My small following grew, and soon I was getting messages from strangers, inspired by my art and story of resilience. I'd found a community that valued me, something my family never offered. One peaceful night after the wedding, my phone buzzed on my Denver apartment's kitchen counter as I sketched a logo for a new client. The screen showed Jake's name, and I hesitated, my heart skipping a beat. I hadn't spoken to him since the lodge, but I answered, curious. Hello? Sarah, it's Jake, he said, his voice warm but tired. Can we meet for coffee? There's something I need to say. I agreed, and an hour later, I sat across from him at a cozy downtown cafe, the smell of roasted beans filling the air. My navy sweater felt like armor against the chilly mountain breeze. Jake's eyes were softer than at the wedding, his tux swapped for a flannel shirt. He leaned forward, hands around his mug. Sarah, I owe you everything. Those messages you helped uncover, you saved me from a lifetime trapped with Lily's lies. I can't thank you enough. I shifted, uneasy with the praise. I didn't do anything, Jake. I just told the truth. You and your mom did the rest. I sipped my latte, avoiding his gaze. It wasn't about heroics. I just wanted the truth to breathe. He shook his head. You spoke up when no one else did. That's not nothing. I started to reply, but a sharp voice cut through the cafe's hum. You two plotting again? Lily stood at our table, her coat slung over one arm, her eyes blazing. Her face was pale, her usual polish gone. You're sitting here laughing while my life's in pieces. You planned this, didn't you? To ruin me. I stayed calm, my voice steady. No one plotted anything, Lily. Your choices caught up with you. Jake stood, his jaw tight. She's right. This is on you. Lily's lips trembled, but she spun and stormed out, leaving a trail of stunned glances. I looked at Jake, and we shared a quiet nod. I hadn't set out to save anyone, but I'd found my own freedom. At a local art event a few months later, I ran into Margaret, Jake's mom. She hugged me, her eyes warm. You're stronger than you know, Sarah. You didn't just stand up for yourself, you gave us clarity. I smiled, feeling a weight lift. Her words weren't validation, they were confirmation I'd done the right thing. Lily emailed me 6 months later, a long, bitter rant accusing me of ruining her life. She claimed I'd turned everyone against her, that I'd always been jealous. There was no apology, no accountability. I didn't reply. Her words didn't hurt, they just proved she'd never change. My revenge wasn't about tearing her down, it was about building myself up. I'd exposed her truth, not with malice, but with facts, letting her actions speak for themselves. My parents eventually sent a letter, asking to meet, promising to make things right. I read it, then set it aside. I wasn't ready to forgive, not yet. Maybe one day, but not until they understood the years of neglect they'd brushed off. For now, I focused on my life, my work, my friends, my peace. I'd spent too long in their shadows, but I'd stepped into my own light, and no one could dim it again. I walked through Denver's streets, the mountain air crisp, my heart steady. The lodge, the corridor, the place card, they were just memories now, not chains. Lily's world had crumbled, not because I'd pushed it, but because she'd built it on lies. And me? I was finally free. living a life that was mine, on my terms. Leave a comment, let me know your thoughts and your favorite part. Don't forget to bless me by subscribing. Thanks for sticking to the end.